You're standing in line. Your phone is in your pocket. 10 seconds pass, then 20. And before you've even noticed, your hand is already reaching for it. You call this boredom. You treat it like a problem to solve, but the real answer is far stranger. Boredom isn't a malfunction. It's not your brain being lazy or broken. It's one of the oldest, most precise survival tools you own, and you've spent the last 15 years training yourself to never feel it. Think about that for a second. An emotion humans have relied on for hundreds of thousands of years, gone in a decade and a half. What did it used to do for you? And what are you losing now that it's disappearing? Start at the beginning. 2 million years ago, your ancestors were not built for constant stimulation. Food was scattered. Danger was scattered. Most hours of most days held nothing urgent at all. No predator, no meal, no mate, just time. And time, unfilled, is dangerous for a brain built to survive. So evolution did something clever. It made stillness uncomfortable. It made an empty moment itch. That itch is boredom. And it exists for one reason only: to push you to search. Search for food. Search for opportunity. Search for a better patch of land, a better tool, a better idea. Boredom is not the absence of drive. It is drive with nothing yet to point at. Researchers have a name for this. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University defines boredom as the uncomfortable feeling of wanting to be engaged in a satisfying activity, but being unable to do so. Notice what that definition does not say. It doesn't say boredom is the desire to escape effort. It says boredom is the desire for meaningful effort you don't currently have. That distinction changes everything. Your ancestors who felt boredom easily and acted on it explored more. They found new water sources. They tried new hunting grounds. They stumbled onto berries nobody in the tribe had eaten before. The restless ones took risks the content ones never did. And some of those risks paid off in ways that changed the species. Here's where it gets stranger. Boredom didn't just drive survival, it appears to have driven creativity itself. A 2014 study led by psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire found that people who were first made to do a deliberately boring task, then given a creative challenge, outperformed people who went straight into the creative task with no boring build-up first. Read that again. Boredom first. Better ideas after. Why would that be true? Because a bored mind doesn't go quiet. It goes wandering. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network, a set of brain regions that activate not when you're focused on a task, but when you're doing nothing at all. Daydreaming, staring at a wall, letting thoughts drift with no destination. This network is where your brain makes unlikely connections, where it links a childhood memory to a current problem, where it quietly solves something you'd stopped consciously thinking about. You've felt this before. The best idea in the shower, the solution that arrives on a long walk with no music, the memory that surfaces for no reason while you wait for a kettle to boil. That's not random. That's the default mode network doing exactly what it evolved to do. And it can only do it when you let a moment stay empty. But here's the problem. You almost never let a moment stay empty anymore. The average smartphone user unlocks their phone somewhere between 80 and 150 times a day. Every one of those unlocks is a tiny transaction. Discomfort in, stimulation out. The itch of boredom appears, and it is extinguished in under 3 seconds before it ever has the chance to send you looking for something real. You haven't gotten rid of boredom. You've just gotten faster at killing it before it can finish its job. Think about what that costs you. If boredom exists to launch a search, and you interrupt the search every single time, you never actually arrive anywhere. You feel the itch. You scratch it instantly. And the deeper question the itch was pointing you toward, the walk you could have taken, the idea you could have had, the conversation you could have started, never gets asked. There's the experiment that makes this uncomfortably clear. In 2014, psychologist Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia ran a study where participants sat alone in a room with nothing to do but think. No phone, no book, just a chair and their own mind. Many found it so unpleasant that, given the option, they chose to give themselves mild electric shocks rather than sit with their own thoughts. Let that sit for a moment. People chose pain over stillness. That's not weakness. That's what happens when a species built to treat empty time as a signal to search suddenly finds itself in a world offering infinite ways to avoid searching at all. So what did ancient humans actually do with boredom when there was no escape from it? They told stories around fires that became myth and memory. They noticed patterns in stars that became navigation and calendars. They fidgeted with sticks and stones that became tools. Boredom, unscratched, became civilization's engine room. You still carry that exact engine. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's simply never given the chance to turn on. Here's the twist that makes this even stranger. Boredom is not the opposite of a meaningful life. It might be the prerequisite for one. Every deep interest you have started somewhere. And it likely started in a stretch of unfilled time when your mind, with nothing else to hold on to, reached out and found something worth holding. A kid who is never bored never has to build a world out of nothing. A mind that is never idle never has to surprise itself. So the discomfort you feel in a slow moment isn't your brain telling you something is wrong. It's your brain telling you it's ready to work, if only you'll give it something worth working on. It is the oldest search function you own, quietly asking, "What now?" You're standing in line again. Your phone is in your pocket. 10 seconds pass. 20. This time, leave it there. Because that itch isn't a glitch. It's an invitation 2 million years in the making, and it's still waiting for you to say yes.